What's up? Man,
It's been an interesting start to the year, hasn't it? A lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff.
Good
job
stuff.
stuff, everything. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. Anyway, welcome to our first episode of 2021.
Happy New Year!
Yeah, Happy New Year. We ended up taking a little bit longer break than we wanted to take. And we'll get into more of that as we progress in the episode today. But anyway, what we're wanting to do today is we're going to shift things up a little bit, and we're going to do more of a podcast style and see how you guys like that. We started getting into podcasts lately. And so you'll see us with a microphone, and we'll be talking into a microphone. There's a couple of things we wanted to talk about today. And so we hope that you will enjoy this.
Oh, and make sure that you subscribe, you like it, and share. We love having all the support from our friends and family, and the more people that just like us, it will help us in our ministry. So please, thumbs up.
Yep.
What is it? Subscribe.
Thumbs up, subscribe, and share. Yes.
There you go.
And if you haven't already, we have a Facebook page and we have an Instagram page. So be sure to hop over there and check those out as well. And we'll see you guys in just a second. What's up, you guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Bratz Adventures podcast. Today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. We have some of our viewers from our YouTube channel that's going to be joining us today. So without further ado, we wanted to get into some updates and kind of let you guys know what we've been up to, considering this is our first podcast episode of the year. Happy 2021, New Year's.
Yeah, Happy New Year, guys. I know you never really heard me on the podcast, so here I am.
Yeah, so that was, I wanted to leave that as a surprise for you guys. My wife is joining me for this episode, and so we hope that you guys enjoy this. So the first thing we wanted to talk about with you guys today is we've started a build out for our van that will hopefully be here in May
and June,
June, somewhere in there.
Yes.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, we plan on getting a van, either May
Not
or
just
June.
a van. Gotta be specific. A high top van, Mercedes high top 170.
Doing the Mercedes Sprinter 170.
Yes.
Okay. So the cool thing is we've already started a build out. We've got the bed already built.
And
right?
the shelves.
The shelving that's going to go there beside the bed.
I want to say something. I'm very impressive. I remember you were telling me how you're like, oh yeah, let's do the bed. I know how to do it. And I'm like, and he proved me wrong. I was like, wow. And we actually slept on it last night. I slept like a baby.
I think we've been on it for a couple of nights now.
It's 2 nights, right?
It's been 2 nights.
Wow. I was very impressed. I was like, please, I don't want to end up on the floor or something. Actually, it was very, very. I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of what you have. I cannot wait to see the full build out, babe.
So our listeners that aren't able to see what we're talking about here, I took some, 5 landscape timbers, 4 of which that I built the main frame with, and then the last one I cut 4 legs out of to get it to the height that we wanted. And then I took 4 pallets and I cut the width down a little bit to match the width of the frame. And we have a mattress that we actually picked up for free. It's an old futon mattress. It's really stiff, it's thick, and it's very firm, very comfortable for both of us. Some people like really, really soft. We tend to like the stuff that's a little firmer, but this works perfectly.
It's so comfortable, very comfortable futon.
Mm-hmm.
At first I was like, no, but I want to get what is it, memory foam.
The memory foam
pad, and you're like, no, this is gonna be better. Try it. I'm like, okay. You know, I got every time my husband say try it, I'm like, if I say no, I end up being wrong later in the future. So I'm like, you know what? Let me try it.
Now, if there comes a time where she tries it, she's really not comfortable with it. I'm not one of those that says we have to stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I will make the necessary adjustments to make it comfortable for us. Okay,
that's my husband.
But anyway, we also have I also have shelving. We took a couple of they're cube shelving, the kind that have the fabric box slide-ins. There's those little boxes that you can get from IKEA or whatever that'll slide into these little cube shelves. I've taken and put 2 of those. I've got them fixed in. I got them screwed down to the frame. Very, very comfortable arrangement.
Well, also, I'm working on, since every time I see that, I'm like, okay. So that means I have to start working on downsizing again. Downsizing my stuff. But you know what? I'm excited. I mean, at first I was like, how am I going to do this? Like, I have so much stuff, so many books. I have books here. I'm like, oh my goodness. But you know what?
You're ready for this, right?
I'm ready. How bad do I want this?
Right.
You know, and like, what's the beauty of it? Like, organizing all in one spot. Well, it's not one spot. I'm going to say it had like 9 cubes, and we already decided how we're going to split it, where we're going to put everything.
Well, there's 9 per shelf unit, so there's 18 total.
This is not bad. It's not. I mean, that's enough. I mean, if we really think about it, like we don't use everything in your closet.
Right.
And I'm noticing in that I'm like, I haven't wore this in like forever. So I'm working on that. I'm cannot wait to.
Well, I want to touch on a phrase that you just made. You said, "How bad do I really want it?"
Mm-hmm.
And that really goes into. We'll be getting into this in our next segment, but the main topic for today is about a young man. I think he's in New Jersey or New York, something like that.
I think New York.
He rented a van for a weekend, for 3 nights or whatever, so that he could do a trip.
He spent $1,700.
Yeah, it was $1,700 for this rental. Okay, and then he had different technical issues that happened.
He didn't know how to. He didn't know how to turn it on or how to
something. Yeah, we'll be reading some of the excerpts from the story. But the point that I want to make is, you just basically hit the nail on the head. How bad do you want it? He made the point in the story that he wanted to get into van life, but after his 3-night stay in a van, he changed his opinion on it just because of what happened in that van. Like, you can't do one situation and base everything off of that one situation. All of us that are going into van life or have been doing van life for so long, we've all resolved to something, and that is, one, how bad do we want it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, And two, if we really want it that bad, what do we need to do to make that work?
And also, it has a lot to do with the attitude. Okay, when you live in an apartment, something's gonna break.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless, wherever you at, an apartment, in a condo, in a house, in a van, something's gonna break, regardless.
And when it does break, whether you do it or you hire someone else to do it, somebody has to fix it.
But it's all depends on the attitude, how you carry yourself.
Right.
If you carry yourself, oh no, that's it. Well, guess what? That's it.
That's all that's gonna come of it.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you be like, you know what? Okay, let me figure it out. How to fix this in a peaceful mode. And guess what? You're gonna get things right. It's all depend how you carry yourself to solve the problem.
Now, let me clarify something here, guys. I am not here to nitpick his decisions, and I'm not here to make him look bad in any way, shape, or form. Okay, I'm here to clarify points of truth to those that are truly interested in van life and getting into van life, or living in their RV or in their trailer, because we have some news coming up about this, and we are in the process of building a full community based around van life and trailers and doing build outs and all of this stuff. Okay. The first thing I wanted to touch on is, as some of you know, we do have an Instagram page. We are making some changes to all of our Instagram stuff. We noticed that with 5 different pages, basically, not counting your personal one, with 5 different Instagram pages, it was just getting to be a little too much to try to maintain it and keep things going. So we are narrowing everything down to 3 pages on Instagram for you guys. We will always have the Bratz Adventures Instagram. We're going to keep that. Our main Instagram, where we're going to be doing all of our updates about our coffee roasting and about our candles and just about our everyday life kind of stuff. It's the Brattons on Instagram. Our last name is Bratton, so we set it up as the Brattons. You guys can check it out. It's at the THE _ Brattons, BRATTINS. Check us out on Instagram there. We have another business page that we this is such an interesting story. During this pandemic of 2020, we were able to start this business.
Yes.
While everybody else was shutting down and closing their doors, we were able to start this business. And initially, it started out as E28 printing, okay? Because at the time, all we were doing was printing T-shirts and things like that. Why don't you tell them a little bit about some of the updates and upgrades and stuff like that we're doing to E28 and the name that we've decided for E28 now?
Well, from E28 design, it turned into E28
printing. It's turned to E28 design.
Before it was E28 printing, and now it's an E28 design, digital designs.
Digital design.
The reason is because, we want to provide different
services,
through digital. How back in the old, no more old school, like everything was making a portfolio and everything, but now it's all digital. We'll be able to do minor photo retouch, video editing, graphic design, digital art, motion graphics. Motion graphics is like different, like a.
It's like a cartoon, but it's like short cartoon clips specific to a brand.
Yeah, like a logo, animated logo, Right. It's really good. And then I saw E28 digital design. Well, and
on
the page.
Instagram, it's just E28 designs.
So yeah, there it is.
I've also updated the Facebook page for that as well to reflect E28 Designs also, so you guys be sure to go and check that out. Something else that I wanted to get out there to you guys, I offer a service as well. It's more hands-on, and it's just because of the nature of what it is. I like to do, van build-outs, trailer build-outs. I had a business years ago where I was actually building like retro camper trailers, and the difference is I use aluminum framing for all of my studs and stuff like that, the cabinet building and everything else. Now the purpose for that is it cuts the weight down. The overall gross weight of the camper trailer will be cut by 2/3 by using the aluminum studs instead of wood. Now that being said, we have to use the steel frame of the trailer, the steel axle of the trailer, and all of the basic components to start with must be steel so that it has the structure, and the integrity, the strength to support everything. But everything on that can be the aluminum framing, and that's one of the things that I really, really love to do. So any building for your van, your trailer, your RV, your shed, that kind of stuff, I can absolutely help with. Now, let me preface all that by saying this. If it's something that you have to be licensed for, i.e. Electrical, that kind of stuff, DC electrical, I can do that. AC electrical, this is why I don't offer any services on houses, because everything's AC with houses, and you have to be certified, you have to be licensed, and all of that stuff. With a shed, you can run AC electrical, but it doesn't have to be according to code unless you live in, say, a gated community or something like that. Everything has to be up to code.
I was just curious. I was going to ask you about, what about homes,
Right.
Were you okay? No.
Yeah, no. As far as homes, I can do like minor drywall repair. I can fix, different cabinets or features of the house, that kind of stuff. But anything electrical, I won't touch it. Some plumbing stuff I can do, like repairing a drain, that kind of stuff. Now, if you want like a drain stuff replaced, like a full section of it or something, I strongly recommend you call a plumber. Somebody that's licensed and registered to, certified to do that. Minor repairs in a house I can absolutely help you with. Yeah.
Oh my God.
No. I absolutely don't mind crawling into a lower cabinet and replacing a sink drain or something. I don't mind doing that kind of stuff. Helping you design your high-top van, or you're building out and designing your vintage camper trailer.
And you know what?
I like doing that.
Another thing I want to say, that this man right here, he'll tell you the things that you can get.
Yeah.
In, let's say, the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to spend no $1,000, $1,500 toilet.
Should I tell him?
I think you should tell them, because
this is something that we have seen on many, many, many vlog channels for van living, RV living, camper living, that kind of stuff. All right. Everybody wants this $1,000 composting toilet. Okay. Can I just give you guys a really awesome hack for that? I mean, this is truly amazing.
And it works the same way.
It works exactly the same way. We went to Lowe's
or Home
Depot.
One of those two.
It was under $5 for a 5-gallon bucket. We went to Walmart and we found the seat for like $11 or $12. I think it was $12 for the seat, and it's actually like a toilet seat, and it snaps on. Yeah, it's got a lid and everything, and it snaps onto the top of the bucket.
But what about
now for number one for liquids, I have developed a system that works very, very, very well, and it only costs like a few dollars. Okay, go to your grocery store, buy a 1 gallon of your favorite juice. Okay?
And drink it all. No, I'm just kidding.
Drink it at your leisure. Now, once the gallon jug is finished, this is where it becomes a part of your toilet. You'll also need to go to the automotive section at Walmart or your favorite automotive store and get the long funnel with the side lip on it. And the reason for that is it acts as a catch, you know, for any drips or anything like that. I mean, it's not something people love to talk about, but hey,
but it's real though.
It's a fact of life. It's something that we deal with, especially us guys. Okay.
All right.
Now,
the number 2.
You'll have to take a drill and put a hole in the side of the bucket. It's up near the top, but you put it in, you know, the side of the bucket there at a little bit of an angle, and then you can slide your funnel through. Okay. At that angle, but do it with the lip on the bottom so it acts as a catch. All right. Now the other end of it, the narrow end of the funnel, goes into your gallon jug. If you can't get it through the mouth of the gallon jug, just punch a hole in the side of the jug and pop the end of the funnel into that so it catches everything. If you want to seal it, you can. There's rubber seals that you can get to fit in there to seal it and all that.
Well, what about it gets full? Then what?
It pulls apart just as easy as a $1,000 composting toilet, okay? It's just as easy. Peat moss, we like to use cedar chips.
I like cedar chip because when, you know, let's say you miss the funnel, the tunnel, and the cedar chips, it just doesn't.
It absorbs all the liquid.
The liquid, and then it doesn't smell at all.
Right.
I know because when we had it in the van.
Our first bucket.
Our first bucket, because it was such an emergency.
Oh.
Because we were in Colorado.
We didn't have the gallon jug for number 1.
We didn't have nothing. Because he'd been telling me for a whole year, we need to get this. I'm like, no, you're not going to be doing my business in a bucket. But it was an emergency. We were in the middle of the forest, and I needed to go pee. So, like, and anyways, next day, we got the bucket, and he showed me. He's like, please trust, like I said before, trust me, please try it. You know, and I did after the whole year. It's when I realized, you know what? He knows what he's talking about. And man, I never was so happy to be in a toilet seat, you know. But
even if it was a bucket, you still like the fact that it was on a toilet seat.
We still got the toilet seat in a bucket with the we didn't get a cedar chips last year.
We got a different medium, but
the dirt from the forest.
Peat moss. Well, we used dirt from the forest when we ran out of the peat moss, but when we actually were able to buy more medium, we ended up getting the cedar chips, and we actually enjoyed that a lot more.
A lot more. And then it was in a van. Mm-hmm. And those who think that it might smell, no, it was not smelling at all.
No, it doesn't smell hardly at all.
I was very impressed. So, anyway.
All right, guys.
What else?
We got to take a quick break here. We've touched on all of our topics here. We wanted to update you guys with everything that's going on. Be sure and check out our Instagram pages, The Brattons and E28 Designs. And we'll be right back.
What's up, you guys? Hey, thanks for checking out our adventure here today. I wanted to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is Heavenly Scent Home Aromatics, and they make some truly awesome candles. This is the latest fragrance that they have. This is their sample size that goes for $4. They also have an 8-ounce size, goes for 16. I'm sorry, 4-ounce, 8 for $8, 8-ounce for 16, and 16-ounce for $24. Be sure and go to their Instagram page and their Facebook page. Check out some of the latest fragrances and place an order today. The coolest thing about these is they're all organic. Most of the candles that you get today are loaded with all kinds of chemicals, and you're breathing that in as you're burning the candles. These are all organic. You're not going to have any side effects from this. Check them out today.
And we're back. Yeah, so in this section, guys, first of all, thank you so much for hanging out with us and, being a part of our first podcast episode and our first episode on YouTube for 2021.
Ooh, Happy New Year!
Right? Happy New Year, guys. All right, so in this section, I wanted to kind of read through a story that I saw on the internet, and the funny part is it has to do with van life. And this guy, I'm not gonna share his name just out of integrity for him. Again, we're not here to bash him. We're not here to make a bad name for him.
We're just ideas.
There's two sides to everything, and this guy's side just it kind of hit some strings with me, simply because I'm the type of guy that loves to basically make an adventure out of everything,
Oh, that I know.
So, anyway, the title of the story is, I tried living in a luxury camper van for a weekend during the winter, and I'll never do it again. All right, so he starts this out this way. He says, in the past few years, I've caught myself fantasizing about quitting my job, breaking my lease, and embarking on an aimless and endless road trip in a camper van. In my daydreams, I could picture myself traveling along the coasts, parking next to the sea, and opening the back doors into picturesque landscapes. I dreamed of seeing the world and doing it in a van, just as a record number of people have done since the start of the pandemic. To see if van life was really for me, I found a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter that was turned into a luxury camper van on Outdoorsy, a site that's like Airbnb for RVs. Many of you guys already know about that site. Anyway, we'll go from there. He says, I decided to rent the van for a weekend in January for $1,770.
That's crazy. That's more than
a hotel.
Holy cow. Yeah.
Anyway, he said for the weekend in January for $1,770, and to take a small road trip to get a taste of van life. By the end of the weekend, I was surprised to learn that I was eager to get home and excited to never step foot in another camper van. All right, just right off the bat. Some of you are true hardcore van lifers. Some of you really enjoy living in your van, okay? And we are those people also. We don't have our van yet, but we are those people. And as I stated before, when things go wrong, I want to fix it. I really want to fix it. And with you by my side, it makes it a lot easier, because you're the type of person that if you don't know how to fix it, you want to either watch me or you want to be there to help me get it fixed, right? Mm-hmm. So instantly that kind of piqued my curiosity, so I decided I was going to read on. All right. The van arrived at my Brooklyn apartment Friday morning, and I was instantly intimidated by the size of it. Now, for those of you that don't understand, the Sprinter 170, even the 144, they are pretty big vans. Just to give you some perspective here, the 144, you can actually park that in any regular parking space, just like a larger car or SUV or something like that. The 170 is about 2 foot longer, 2.5 feet longer. And so you'd have to take up like 2 parking spaces to park this thing. So it's viable that he is a little intimidated by this. Anyway, the story goes on. He says, the owner pulled up with the van outside of my apartment, and my jaw dropped on seeing the massive size of it. So I'm assuming here, he doesn't clarify unless he's mentioned it earlier, but it sounds like it's the 170.
It looks like the 170 in the picture.
In the pictures, so. Yeah, it looks like the 170. Anyway, He says, I remember thinking how ironic it was because this was supposed to be a tiny house, but when compared to a normal-sized vehicle, there was nothing tiny about this van. Now, if I could just point this out. Again, I'm not trying to make this guy look bad, but pessimism sucks. It really does, okay? The negativity is felt very strongly in this past statement that I just read to you, okay? That aside, let's continue on. Measuring 24 feet long, there was practically nowhere to park it on my tight Brooklyn street, and the height of the van seemed to scrape every branch. Now, they're not really that tall, you guys. You start scratching tree branches, you're talking about a moving truck, you know, a U-Haul or Penske truck, you know. You're gonna scrape branches with that. You're not gonna scrape branches with a high top van, you know.
Unless the trees were really low, then.
Well, yeah, that's just somebody poorly maintaining their property. But anyway, the streets are typically maintained pretty well.
Yeah.
All right. Continuing on, he says, once I stepped inside, I saw that the van was even more luxurious than I expected. Stainless steel appliances and plenty of counter space made my Brooklyn kitchen look like a dud. Right next to the kitchen was the bathroom, which I feared because of its size.
Okay. So the bathroom?
Yeah.
You know, when you first told me about the toilet, I was like, you know, kind of skeptical about it. But now I completely appreciate it.
Right.
What do you expect in a van? Do you expect to have like a fancy
Okay.
RV style or something?
In a schoolie, I could literally see like a bathroom, like an apartment.
In a schoolie, but in a van. Come on.
Small bathroom. Okay, now in a van,
it's gonna be tight.
You're gonna have a composting toilet. I'm sorry, it's gonna be a small toilet because you just don't have the room like you do on a schoolie, man. You know?
Oh man.
Anyway, continuing on, he says, the moment I saw the bathroom, I knew it was going to be a problem. I could barely stand up in it, and the composting toilet was an unknown territory that I did not want to explore. I vowed to not use the bathroom, the toilet specifically, for as long as I could.
He was probably constipated. I don't know. Anyways.
In the back of the van was a seating area that folded down into a bed. The owner of the van demonstrated how to quickly convert the benches into a large bed. I took a mental note of the instructions, but then he followed it up with a 30-minute instructional tour of the van's many, many systems. Okay, I have to pause right there for just a second. Let's just kind of look through his eyes for a second. You're aspiring to get into van life. And this is very important stuff that you have to know. And if you just don't have the capacity in your brain to understand it, you should have someone on standby that can help you with this, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That said, this next paragraph kind of just like, I'm left with a whole bunch of question marks all over. Okay? He says, he pointed to countless buttons explaining how each one runs a different system. I vaguely remember him saying to press this button when I needed water pressure, then this button when I needed warm water. I couldn't press the button next to that one because something bad would happen. I had to remember to turn off this button or else something even worse would happen. Now, to me, that sounds like somebody that looks at it all as intimidating and they have no desire to try to figure it out.
I think what I see when I read that at first, I was like, did he thought that I feel like
did he think it was going to be a hotel room?
The people that or there's not only for that specific person, but
anybody
people
else.
Think
that's in
anybody
your shoes.
else. I'm talking about in general. Don't expect it to be easy all the time. I mean, there'll be times when, you make a wrong move, everything's gonna shut down, and
like, really, how much can you handle? If you know you can't handle it, why are you stepping into it?
Or if I was in his shoes, I would have been like, you know what? Let me record the owner.
Record it or write it down.
On my phone, record him while he's giving me instructions. And when I get stuck or whatever, I could go play in the video. And I'm like, oh, that's the wrong button. I pressed the wrong button. Let me push this one, Because I am more of a visual. I am not a, my husband knows I'm not a hearer. I'm more of a visual. I like to watch.
You would have to record it with a video.
I have to record it.
And you would have to go back and look at it.
And then he's really good with remembering,
I'm the technical brain.
Very good. And I'm more of a visual. You have to show me in paper or...
A lot of times if I'm learning something new, it helps to see the video. But typically...
Okay, but you watch the video, you remember.
Right.
Like next day, I'm like, oh yeah, this and this. I'm like, how?
And typically there's times where I could open a book and I could read something. And I can visualize it in my mind. And as soon as I visualize it, I remember how to do it. I remember what I'm doing, right?
Amazing. It's amazing, but it's not gonna be easy.
Right.
It's just, you cannot expect to be easy.
No, you can't expect everything to be easy. All right. Well, I'm gonna read through this pretty quick because I don't want to turn this into an hour-long thing, but.
We can go on and on and on and on about this.
You guys know, for those of you that are OG to our channel, you guys can absolutely say, we could go on for hours about this.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, go ahead.
Continuing on, he says, he showed me how to work a generator and how to plug the larger van into a campsite without ever explaining why I would need to do either of these things because the van already had electricity from its solar panel. Okay, he obviously didn't understand wattages and what certain things were capable of and what they weren't capable of doing on solar power, that kind of thing. Anyway, he says, there was a very quick demonstration on how to turn on the heat, which seemed like you just pressed the same button 5 times.
Which seems like.
Sounds to me like somebody wasn't really paying attention.
Exactly.
I mean, no offense to the guy, but...
Record the owner.
Exactly.
Anyway, keep reading.
There was a very quick demonstration on how to turn on the heat, which seemed like you just pressed the same button 5 times, and then it would start. For someone who has never camped or lived in a tiny house, I was ill prepared for the number of systems I needed to know in such a small time to transform this into a livable home. That right there, I think, is key to this entire situation. Okay? Guys, if you're not ready to step into tiny house living or van life, or living in a truck, or living in a schoolie or old school bus, don't just jump in both feet. Take some time to do some research. Take some time to ask questions from people in the community that live this thing out every single day, and they understand what you have to go through. If you're not prepared to ask questions, don't just jump in.
Excuse me. Do what we're doing. Like my husband, he already put the bed up, in the other room, where we put building everything out.
Right.
Man, just seeing that, it makes me, like I already told you, we're gonna make the first. It's inspiring me more. We already said, okay, I'm gonna downsize it. We already. You even suggested. Like, hey, let's. I didn't want to sleep. I'm like, no, I want to sleep there when we get to the van. Well, practically, you were preparing me mentally, and the feel of a small room and everything, So when we get everything else, we're gonna start using it there.
But the other side of this too is what's been going on with the weather here in Chicago lately. With it being, what was it, 3 nights ago now? It was -5
It was
at night.
So cold.
The landlord in our apartment here, the heater's controlled upstairs in his apartment, and he maintains 75 degrees 24 hours around the clock. Okay. The problem is down here in our apartment, our walls are half concrete walls, which means there's only half an inch of insulation on the concrete walls, which means the floor and half the wall is bringing in nothing but cold from the frozen ground outside.
So cold. So that little room where he started building.
Right. That happens to be the warmest room in the house.
I want to be there all day.
A few nights ago, I encouraged her, hey, let's just sleep in here. Let's see if we can't sleep in this room better than what we've been doing in the big room where it's colder. You know, and you finally agreed, and you're enjoying it so far. So.
I enjoy it. And so...
Just be prepared, and if you're not prepared, then don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah, don't be prepared. Don't be prepared. Don't be afraid to ask questions
or
and
hang out with
do
somebody.
research and hang out. Just find a community of van lifers and just see what it's about. You know, even like I think I'm doing a big, you know, stepping up. Big step, you know, of already looking at my stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna take this to the van, you know. I'm gonna give this away, you know. We already, you know, in progress.
Guys, if you could see how much we have already prepared for giveaway, it would shock you.
And I'm excited. I'm excited to. I mean, there's shoes. A box of shoes I have not even touched for 2 years.
Do we really need something you haven't touched in 2 years?
But what if? What if? No, I'm just kidding.
All the what ifs. I mean.
But you started noticing what is it you need. You know, it's all about getting yourself prepared. Like the way Ben was saying that, don't just jump in and be like, all right, that's it. I got the van. I'm gonna live here. No, it's all. You know, it's a process. So, it's a process. Yeah. And I think that's what I'm going through. I'm starting to accept the fact that we're going to be living like in the size of that room that we have been in the last couple of nights. So,
so for anybody that is already having the question racing through your mind, yes, I've already been through the whole process of downsizing. For 5 months, I lived in nothing but my backpack as I traveled actually 5-6 different states prior to meeting you.
He only had 2 shirts and 2 pair of pants, maybe only 1 pair. Oh, the Crocs. The black Crocs. That's all he had.
Crocs of shoes was and what I had in a pair of boots.
The blacks, And that's all he had. I remember he came. Yep. He came from Florida. He just all he had. I'm like, okay, this is not what I'm used to seeing. You know, I thought you were gonna come with like 5 luggages, all your stuff and everything.
Or a small U-Haul truck or something.
Yeah, you know. But no, you came with 1 pool bag and it was heavy as heck. I remember that.
Yeah.
You know,
that particular bag was actually starting to come apart at the seams because I'd had it for 5 months carrying that stuff.
Man, but I'm the one who started buying more stuff for him, and he will deny. So at first,
I was turning her down. When I'll be honest, I don't typically turn stuff down if I need it, but I didn't think I needed more clothes. I mean, I'm not one to hang on to stuff for a long period of time. I'm you know, and as far as clothes or shoes or boots or anything like that, I will wear them into the ground before I get any more.
And I remember I wanted to get you the new Crocs. And you're like, no, I still got those Crocs. I'm like, it had no support. Like, no, until it has a hole in it, then you can give me a new one. I'm like, OMG.
That's just how I am, though.
And it's the same thing you are with your clothes, you know. So I am actually learning from you to be like, all you need a couple pair of pants. Well, us women, we could deal with, same pants and everything, but tops, if it's that kind of tops,
You guys got to have a little bit more to pick from.
And guys, and you, like, I could wear the same pants.
I just need 2 pairs of pants, maybe 4 shirts, two nice ones and 2 t-shirts, I mean.
And I'm the one.
And then, of course, I have to have my flannels. You know me, I have to have my flannels.
And I'm the one who's been buying more stuff for you. And I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Anyway, let's get back to this. He says, I was ill prepared for the number of systems I needed to know in such a small time to transform this into a livable home. I convinced myself I understood it all. Probably the biggest mistake that he could make. And he says, predictably, this would be my downfall. See, he admitted right there before he even continued that was going to be his own downfall. Because he wasn't purposely understanding everything. He wasn't taking notes. He didn't record the process as the owner was explaining all this. So, inevitably, there was going to be an issue. All right. I'm going to skip some of the not so important stuff. He goes on to talk about how there was terrible traffic. The traffic jam delayed them a full hour. They ended up sleeping in a Cracker Barrel parking lot. In this section, he says, there are some big brands like Walmart and Cracker Barrel that allow for overnight RV parking. Now, with the changes, with COVID and everything else, there's a lot of places that have stopped allowing that. But Cracker Barrel is typically very friendly to RV parking. There are a lot more Walmarts that are not okay with overnight parking.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and they have cameras in the parking lots to confirm all this stuff. There's a lot of Walmarts that don't allow you overnight parking. The best places to find overnight parking usually is like a rest stop on the interstate or a truck stop somewhere.
I remember we were at some rest stop.
We have slept at rest stops. We've slept. I think we slept at one truck stop.
Oh yes, we did, mm-hmm. and I felt safe.
Yeah, no, and see, that's the crazy thing. Okay, society says that truck stops are not safe. Society says that sleeping at a rest area on the interstate's not safe, but as van lifers, that's where we felt the safest, honestly.
That was
when we took our trip to Colorado. I mean, we slept at more rest areas on the side of the interstate than we did anywhere else.
We did.
Until we got to our destination in Colorado, and we were on BLM land, where it was just a bunch of campers and everybody left you alone.
That was really cool.
Oh.
That was really cool.
I can't wait to do that again.
Oh my God, I cannot wait to go back.
So anyway, he says, during the summer months, these parking lots are much busier with RVs and camper vans. On this night, the parking lot was empty. We had the entire Cracker Barrel lot to ourselves, so we got to work making our new home comfortable. This is where I start to see a bunch of red flags. He says, almost instantly, my friend and I felt how difficult it would be to move around the small space. Now, I do need to interject something. For those of you that live in small spaces, you're probably aware of this. For those of you that are looking to get into this lifestyle, please understand this is going to be very cramped space compared to what you're used to at your apartment or your home. This does not have the same amount of overall space. So it will be a bit cramped. You have to learn to share and pass and, be respectful of the other person in your space, such and such. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Continuing on, he says, just a few hours ago, we both marveled at how large the vehicle was in the city streets. Now, everything was turned on its head. We were 2 people trying to unpack their belongings and move around a very tight space. We kept bumping into each other and having to announce our movements. Now, I've been in some tight spaces before, but I've never had to announce my movements. You? Okay. He continues on to say, I want to grab my book from my bag in the back, he said. In other words, get out of the kitchen so I can get by. I mean, that's kind of rude how to put that. But, at the same time, it's like, hey, can I slide by you?
Or, excuse me.
Yeah, see, come on, people. It's not that hard. Anyway, it goes on to say, slowly we developed a kind of choreography. When we had to slip by one another, we learned how to make ourselves as small as possible.
You know what? You just gotta have fun with this. Like when we, our kitchen is right now in this apartment, it's very small.
It is small, yeah.
And we just joke around. When we had to pass by each other, we just like slide by each other,
rub on each other,
Yeah. It just, you gotta have fun with it. Don't be like, oh, I gotta go over there. But it's like, no, just
or ask the person, hey, can you reach in there and grab that for me?
Yeah,
whatever it is.
Don't be all like,
stuck up, rude jerk.
Just line it up and just have fun with it, So
right,
So
anyway, he continues on. He says, if someone needed something that was closest to the other person, we learned it was just easier to get it for them. In other words, passing it back and forth appropriately. After struggling to maneuver ourselves in the van, I decided to eat dinner outside so that I could feel some openness. Yeah, he goes on to say that and there's a picture right here where it shows that he's got his plate of food on the floor and his feet are just outside the door and he's enjoying his meal. And he complained about some things, as it was winter, it was really cold, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you gotta suck it up sometimes. You gotta just resolve in your mind that, hey, I'm in a small space that I have to share with another person. Let me be creative in how I execute what I'm doing,
Or, also, you start thinking, like, how can I stay warm? Well, be creative.
Well, and that's what he goes into next right here. It started with the electrical going out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name the show that they were watching, but he says, we started watching TV on a laptop, but noticed it was about to die. I went to plug it in, but realized that none of the outlets were working. Now, let me interject something. Typically in a van, you want to have an overall shutoff switch so that electricity is not bleeding out when it shouldn't.
Or wasting, yeah.
Right. That's wasted energy.
I'm learning that from him, Phil.
Now, let's go back in our minds at the beginning of the story when the van first showed up at his apartment in Brooklyn. The owner decided to share with him how to work all the electrical.
Exactly.
Did he not dismiss it all at that time? This is why I find it so important. Pull out your phone, record the conversation as you suggested, or as I suggested, take notes, write it down on paper, something, okay?
Or record the voice,
right.
Even
if it's just audio. Yeah, exactly. All right. None of the outlets were working. Ominously, at that exact moment, my friend noticed that the heat wasn't working either.
Hello.
We both decided it was too late and that we were too tired to worry about either of those things. We went to sleep and bundled up under many blankets instead. Now, I'm one that I feel like I know a little bit about heating systems, especially for vehicles. It's really not that hard to heat a vehicle. Even if you have to walk into a van and get a buddy heater to warm it up temporarily, then you crawl under the blankets. When you get woke up a few hours later, you kick the thing back on, warm it up, and then go back to sleep. I mean, yeah, it's kind of painstaking to have to, kick that thing on every few hours to warm the place up, but I mean, come on, at least you'd have some sort of heat.
Exactly.
Or, as you read on in the story, he called the owner about it all, and the owner says, well, just turn the burner on, let the stove heat up the space for a little bit. I mean, come on, you just got to be creative in how you do this.
Yeah. I mean, people like New York people, they're very, what is this? I don't know what's the word. They have everything in hand, you know,
Right,
and
right.
like the light twist is on and off. That's it, you know. But there's nothing like a lot of people they don't know how to be creative, babe.
No, and I know that. And again, we're not here to make this guy look bad. We're not here to point out his faults.
So.
We're generalizing the situation. We're saying, look, if you're going to get into this, have a mind to be creative for, you know, the situation that you're putting yourself into. Don't blame other people for what you have decided to step into, okay? Now,
that's a good point.
There's a lot of risk in getting into a van or a trailer or an RV and making that your permanent home, okay?
Of course.
But, correct me if I'm wrong, aren't the rewards much greater?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not even going to read this next paragraph because he's complaining about the trash waking him up in the middle of the night. He spent the night shivering under the blankets because it wasn't warm enough, blah, blah, blah. You know, he's just complaining, you know. And then, you know, he ended it like this. He says, after a horrific night's sleep, I ordered a comfort breakfast from Cracker Barrel. And then he's got a picture of this, you know. Anyway, ate breakfast awkwardly, standing in the middle of the kitchen. You know, I mean, like
he could have sat down. He could have sat down on the bed.
Yeah,
Just enjoy
on the
it.
bed, or the table. The space opens up to a table, and they both could have sat at the table and enjoyed their breakfast. But yet he would rather sit there and complain about this.
It's all depend how the person carries himself or herself. You know, you have to be. You know how in the Bible said, whatever you sow, that's what you're gonna reap. You know, if you sow like positive energy, guess what? You're gonna sow a positive energy, everything positive outcome. You know, it's all depend how you carry yourself.
How do you choose to address the situation?
Exactly. There you go. You in my mind.
You know, which goes into this next paragraph. I'm not going to read it, but you know, he says he called the owner, and the owner walked him through the troubleshoot and all that stuff via FaceTime. You know, to get the outlets to work, blah 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 blah. He says, you know, and then something about the owner was supposed to get back to him to fix the heat, and he ends this by saying, spoiler alert, he never did. That right there tells me that he's holding animosity towards the owner, and he was expecting the owner to take care of every issue that he had. Now, yes, the van belonged to someone else. I get that, okay? My point in all this is, you want to get into van life? You need to figure it out.
That's why there's Google to figure it out.
Yeah.
That's why there's what is it? YouTube. How you call it? YouTube University.
I call it YouTube University. Exactly.
To learn different things. You know how to do this. How to. I'm learning that from you, babe. Honestly, before I like, you know, I'm a spoiled brat. You know, like have other people do stuff for me, but you are teaching me how to have other alternatives and other ways to fix things and just be positive about everything.
Right. Now, I don't want to go into the rest of the story because you guys can already see the gist of what's going on here. You know, but my opinion in all this is this, all right? If you have a dream, don't quit on your dream, first of all. Secondly, if it's your dream, if it's something that you've, you know, believed that you could do your whole life, if it's something that you've had a passion for your whole life, and you want to finally try it for yourself, don't sell yourself short and shut down the process, okay? Before you open the doors and subject yourself to this type of a situation like this young man did, do some research. Google works. Get on YouTube. You know, there's a million different or billion different YouTube videos and how each person has addressed all these issues themselves and in their own creative ways. You know, that in and of itself should give you some sort of a basis in how you could address that for you.
Or go to van life community and just check them out. I mean, you don't have to have a van to go check them out. You know what I mean? A lot of those van lifers, they will be more than happy to show you.
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
show you around how
Not
it is.
to mention, there are countless numbers of blogs, people sharing their insights and their knowledge about how to address these things. So, to be truthfully honest, and again, I'm not here to bash this guy, but to be truthfully honest, he had a way to make this work.
And enjoy it.
And he had no excuses.
It was all right there in the tip of his fingers. He just wanted...
He wanted, I'll be honest, I feel like he wanted to make us in the van life community look bad.
When it's...
And make it seem like it wasn't really worth the reward in the end. I'm sorry, I'm not ready to sell out on my dream yet. Are you?
Oh, no. Nope.
Okay. Anyway, what's your opinion, your overall opinion on this story? Give your insights, be as poignant as you decide you want to be, but the mic is yours, my love.
The mic is mine, huh? Well, like I said, I think I said a few times already, you know, on this podcast. It's all about how you carry yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if something breaks down, I have learned from Ben to be like, okay, all right, this is fixable. This is not the end of the world. Let's fix it. Let's put it together. Or, you know, it's all about how you carry yourself. You know, if you're going to get frustrated, guess what? You're not going to get anything good out of it. But if you have a positive attitude, I'm like, okay, it broke. Okay, how am I going to fix it? You know, and that's what I'm learning, that to be ready and you know, when we step in the van, and that's why Ben encouraged me to start sleeping in the room. And he asked me yesterday morning, or last night, I don't remember, one or the other. I know, I think it was last night. He asked me, so how do you like sleeping in the bed? How do you like sleeping here? And I'm like, I love it. Every time I wake up, you know, go to the bathroom middle of the night, I was like thinking, like, man, imagine, you know, it's like, I'm ready, you know, and I'm like getting mentally ready and, you know, preparing myself and know that, you know, I'm going to be real. The process for me, it's not going to be easy.
Right.
It's never going to be easy. But, like I said earlier, how bad do I want it?
Right.
So I am going to make it work and just have this change of attitude. I'm like, you know what? It's not going to be easy because I'm going to go through a lot of stuff. I'm like, okay, I have not touched this pants, or I have not touched this sweater or this blouse for a long time, or the big bag of shoes, you know, like the way you said it, there's people that need it.
Right, yeah.
You know, so it's all about how you carry yourself. That's all I want to say, you know, and people, that's how I'm preparing myself mentally, you know, to do it, to make it happen.
Right. All right, guys. Well,
how about your insight?
I did.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, right.
We're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up today's episode. Thanks again for hanging out with us today, and we'll be right back.
What's up, you guys? Hey, thanks for checking out the adventure today. I just want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor. All right, today's sponsor is Jesus Joe Coffee Company. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram. And this here is one of their samples. This is the Bare Naked. It's plain coffee. They just roast it and grind it, and they put it in this little bag. This is a little sample bag. It's 2.5 tablespoons. It makes about 4 cups of coffee in the standard 12-cup drip coffee maker. You can also use a French press. You can use different ones. Really, really, really pure, awesome coffee. It's some of the greatest coffee I've ever tried. They have the sample size that I just showed you for $4. They have a small for $8, a medium for $15, and a large for $24. The large is a little under 2 pounds of coffee. So definitely get over to their Instagram and their Facebook pages and check that out. It's well worth it to check out the coffee. Have a great day, you guys.
All right, and we're back. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. As I stated before, I really appreciate you guys coming along and hanging out with us. On the YouTube channel with us today and on the podcast. This is a first for us, but we're actually looking forward to sharing this with you guys and getting some feedback and seeing what you guys feel about the podcast themed video. If you guys are listening to our podcast for the first time and you'd like to see some of our videos, head on over to YouTube and look up The Bratz Adventures. TheBratts Adventures. The Bratz Adventures. We are on Instagram at _Brattins, BRATTINS. You can also find us at E28 Designs on Instagram and Facebook. You can also find The Bratz Adventures on Instagram and Facebook. We have a Facebook page for the Brattins as well. You're more than welcome to hit us up there. And also, as a recap, if you guys have a vision for a van or a retro trailer, retro RV, or just updating an RV that you have, if you have a shed that you want to renovate, something like that, please feel free to shoot us an email, thebratsadventures@gmail.com. I'd be more than happy to check it out for you, give you an estimate. Here's the thing, though. Because we do this for ministry efforts, I do not quote a price. Okay? My quote is for the materials that you will have to purchase and for any tools that I don't already have that will be necessary for the project. Okay? I do not charge for my services. All right? If you would like to bless us for coming and hanging out for a day or 2 days or a week or however long the project takes, monetarily, then yeah, you can absolutely,
It comes from their heart, There was
right. Whatever you guys feel in your heart that you wanted to share with us, monetarily or for food, for whatever,
and
stuff that you don't use anymore.
And maybe they can include a pizza, cheese pizza. I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, for those of you that want to supply food, we don't eat meat. We might take a small portion of meat to feed our dog and our cat, but
that's it.
We don't eat meat, So,
whatever comes in your heart, and maybe a pizza, and I'll be happy.
She's easy. Just get her a cheese pizza. She'll be happy. Or a cheese pizza with some spinach. She really likes that.
I forgot about that. And Coke.
Yeah, gotta have our Pepsi or
anyways.
Coke. Also, newly getting into minor photo retouching. I can, as long as it's a digital photo, I can, brighten it up. I can clarify it a little better, some of the graininess, get it out of there. I offer video editing services. You send me whatever videos that you want me to
put together,
edit, or put together. I can absolutely do that. You have services available now for graphic design, digital art, and something called motion graphics. Can you just take a few minutes and explain to the listeners what motion graphics are?
Sure. Motion graphics are like animated graphics. For example, a logo that you have, I can, put it together and do different type of animated. It's basically it's just animated logo, you know.
So you can take a stationary logo and turn it from stationary logo to like a motion logo. Like
Yes,
give it
definitely.
some movement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's what I do. And the same thing goes with the services. Like we won't be charging either. That's the same thing goes with you know, whatever comes in your heart. If you would like to bless us, be more for it. But if you are like a brand new business owner that's just coming up with, you know, new logo.
if you have a business and you want to make your new logo pop, you know, and you just want us to do that, you don't want to have anything to do with, you know, our vlog channel, travel and all that. You don't want to have anything to do with who we are as ministers or anything like that. That's fine too. Okay. In that case, we would, you know, give you like a price for services. But if it's geared towards furthering our efforts of travel, adventure, you know, loving on people and just you know, being us and hanging out with you and just spending time with you, then, you know, we're not going to charge you, but, you know, it would be nice to see something. But that's just how we are.
And, you know, and I think, you know, whatever you sow, you will reap. So
Exactly.
whenever we put our time, effort, and putting, you know, you building and me putting together some designs, we will reap, you know, regardless, one way or another, you know. Because God said He will provide all of His needs, all of our needs according to His riches and glory. So, so yes. So, anyways, there goes my my couple minutes.
Yeah, and
fun.
once again, yeah, it was very fun. And once again, yeah, we say thank you to you guys so much for
Thank you.
hanging out with us and just, you know, listening to whatever we're blabbering on about today, you know. Our plan with this is to make this, we'll probably just start with like a once a month episode with the podcast. If you want to stay more up to date with us and get a little bit more in depth in who we are and what we're doing and stuff like that, then I suggest you head on over to YouTube, like I said before, and check out the Bratz Adventures on YouTube. You know, Bratz is not the B-R-A-T-Z like the toys. It's B-R-A.
I remember when you told me about it, like, oh, cool, let me look it up. And I was like, I see those like rock and roll dolls, the Bratz. I was like, oh, babe, it's like
it's not that.
It's not that. So you have to
make sure that it's spelled correctly. It's B-R-A-T-T-S.
Because I don't want you to look at it and be like, oh, they're right there. No, that's not us. You see a doll, and a doll right there, that is not us.
That's not us. No. B-R-A-T-T-S, the Bratz Adventures. On YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Also look for the Brattons on Instagram and Facebook. And E28 Designs.
Yes.
So, yeah, thanks again for hanging out. And we will catch you guys on the flip side.
Yes.
All right, you guys. As we just stated in the last segment, we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us today and just spending time with us. I know this is not our typical style of video, but you guys, you know, need to understand that with the way things have been with this whole pandemic and everything, we have really had to try hard at being creative to continue to
provide you guys with content, good, enjoyable content. I even went so far as to put out some videos about some of the projects that I was working on, which, by the way, with this new van build that we just talked to you guys about, I've had to sacrifice a few of those build projects that I was working on, and which is fine. I don't mind doing that. It's going for a good cause anyway. So
yeah, going to a home.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, all the services that we just mentioned in today's episode, they are available. If you guys want to reach out to me and acquire my services, please, by all means, shoot me an email, thebratsadventures@gmail.com, and let me know what you're thinking about doing, and I can get a materials list together for you, and we can coordinate what time we can meet up with you. It would have to work out with all of our travels that we're planning on later this year. Any final thoughts from you, my lovely bride?
No, it was so much fun. I just went with the flow with the whole podcast. That was fun. That was a fun thing to do. You've been trying to get me to do it for months.
A couple months now, yeah. And I think our first episode on the podcast was
November.
Yeah, November 20th. And we hadn't put anything else on there because I was trying to get her on the podcast with me. So this will be episode number 2 on that.
It was so much fun. I really enjoy it. It's just just a fun conversation, and just the way we talk,
Now, for those of you that follow us more for our spiritual beliefs, things like that, I have another podcast. It's called the Healing Hands of Jesus Ministry podcast. Some of you may or may not know there's a Facebook page. It's called the Healing Hands of Jesus Ministry. We manage that. We had a YouTube channel, which we will probably look into putting some more videos up on that. We probably should. We haven't put anything up since mid
2019?
Yeah, 2019.
Or maybe
early 2020, right before everything hit. But yeah, if you guys want to check that out, please go right ahead. We're working on some ideas for some stuff to hopefully get some more stuff on there. But the biggest thing that I've been working on lately is the podcast for the ministry page. So yeah, anchor.com/the Healing Hands of Jesus Ministry. I will also put a link to it on our Facebook page, the Healing Hands of Jesus Ministry Facebook page, if you guys want to check it out. So again, we thank you for hanging out today, and we look forward to getting you some more awesome content out this year. I know it was a late start to 2021 for us, but we had to have the break. A
lot of things were going on,
So, yeah.
Good things.
Yep.
Good things, So,
all right. Well, we love you guys. Thank you for hanging out, and we will see you
soon
in the next one.
I don't know where you guys are, but yeah, this is what we're dealing with here in Chicago. This peak right here comes up to my chest. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be getting the lawn chairs out anytime soon either, or the barbecue.